Does anybody else just really hate when normies or stupid people tell you that old games are only good because of nostalgia? Like, they just completely disregard everything you have to say and pass it off as nostalgia. I honestly really hate this sentiment, and whenever that's the only thing people can reason as to why you like or even prefer older games to more modern ones, like, it couldn't possibly be the fact that old games were just simply better, didn't have DEI and gender political pandering, weren't trying to nickel and dime you for every penny you have, didn't charge you $70 for partial of the game and needing to spend, $100 for the ultimate edition to get the full game. But nah, modern games are just better because graphics obviously mean a game is better, right? And if you think otherwise and think a PS2 game is better, then that's just nostalgia, bro. Like, goddamn, I hate how normies have infiltrated gaming. But yeah, I just want to showcase like 10 older games of like the PS2 era that are actually way more fun and better than any modern day slop games, and why you should try them out or give them a shot. This list won't be in any like specific order, but more so 10 games that I think are really fun and are actually just really good games in general, because they're fun to play and it isn't because of nostalgia. Now, I have played all these games on this list before, but didn't have like any gameplay footage, so I had to use like the couple opening hours for each game, and also the fact that OBS is absolute dog shit, and I had to then re-record all the footage a second time because for whatever reason it wasn't capturing anything on my screen. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's check out some good games that are all way better than any modern day slop.
All done. Yes.
Starting off is Ape Escape, where you play as Jimmy capturing monkeys. No, not that Jimmy, the other one. But yeah, in Ape Escape, as the name would suggest, a bunch of monkeys escaped and it's your job to capture them with your trusty net, which you'll be encountering all sorts of monkeys, from ones with literal submachine guns to others kitted out in full medieval suits of knight armor to ninja monkeys, and you'll also be facing questionable monkey bosses like Monkey Yellow.
I'm Yellow, the sparkling gem of the Freaky Monkey 5. Welcome to my ring. Would you care to join me in a match? Oh, please do be careful with me. Oh.
Ugh, what's wrong with this monkey?
But yeah, the game is full of charm, which most modern games lack, and as you go through the stages collecting monkeys to progress to the next level, you'll also earn chips or coins for the gacha machine, which you can spend your hard-earned coins you found throughout the levels on random prizes like mini games, fortune cookies, hens, and random monkey lore. You'll also be earning new gadgets as you progress, such as a hula hoop that allows you to run incredibly fast and up steep hills, and a slingshot that has like various types of ammo you can use to shoot enemies and also hit out of reach switches as with a controllable RC car. And instead of using the face buttons for your gadgets like in most games, this game uses the right stick to swing your weapon and net, which is honestly a really cool feature. You can also rotate it in a circle to do like a spin attack or power up your hula hoop. Instead of like remastering the same shitty games like Horizon Forgotten West and The Last of Trash for the 500th time, Sony should honestly really bring back Ape Escape, back when gaming was meant to be fun and not a cutscene simulator where you need to listen to 20 hours of dialogue to go to the next area. But yeah, give Ape Escape a shot if you haven't already.
Here I come! Hey! I'm gonna fall! I'm done for!
If you are one of like the 5 people out there who are excited for We Was Kang Shadows and want to play a good stealth game, or if you are a fan of FromSoft and have played Sekiro before, you may also know that Sekiro was originally going to be a Tenchu game, as with FromSoft being the publishers of like the Tenchu franchise. You can see the similarities with like the stealth kills and grappling hooks. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to bullshit to you that like Tenchu Wrath of Heaven is like a masterpiece or some shit, because the game has like some problems, primarily entirely that being the camera. Like, you're going to be fighting the camera more than any like ninjas or enemies in this fucking game. The camera is absolute dog shit, and the controls can take a while to adjust to, but once you do like adjust to the controls and the horrendous camera, Tenchu Wrath of Shadows is a really fun and enjoyable game. Like, it's what we call a game having like soul kino. The game just has that charm and soul, you know? But you basically play as one of two ninjas, Rikamaru, who isn't black by the way, and Ayame, and you essentially are put or thrown into like these semi-open or sandbox levels of usually like a village where you will need to like stealth kill enemies. As with having like a wide range of ninja tools you can select before the mission starts, such as healing items, shurikens, revives, bombs, smoke bombs, blowguns, etc., that you can also find in like the missions, and if you don't use them, they like get added to your inventory once you beat the level. But yeah, you basically stealth kill and want to stealth kill as many enemies as possible so you can get like new skills and abilities. And also because the melee combat in this game is also absolute dog shit, and this all factors into the grade at the end of the levels. You can get like novice or thug if you like suck ass and don't stealth kill anybody, or you can get like grandmaster if you stay in the shadows and stealth kill everybody. Also, it's crazy how we have advanced like 20 years in the future, yet Ubisoft's like stealth in games is about on par with this game.
I just fucking real talk.
If you do get spotted in this game, you can just run away and they'll forget about you like within like 5 seconds. It's actually kind of funny.
Really, nigga? Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Forget it. A very low IQ person.
But yeah, the game, despite having some major problems like the camera, it's honestly really fun, and it's much better than any, you know, modern Ubisoft game like the upcoming We Was Kang Shadows. Also, not to mention Ayame, you know, she's actually attractive unlike modern, you know, women.
No, this can't be happening to me.
Oh, that's a nice pair you have.
Wait, no, I'm not ready.
I'm ready. Why don't I show you?
Let the girl go.
What? How dare you disturb my game of cards?
I will admit I never finished Silent Hill 3, and I actually did not own this game growing up. It wasn't until much later that I got the Silent Hill HD collection and got the chance to play SH3 for the first time. And yeah, everybody knows the Silent Hill HD collection is not good. We all know that, okay? But yeah, maybe that's why I never finished the game. But yeah, I do want to like eventually finish this game though, as I know it's a great game. And I also don't know like how the game ends since I've never actually looked it up. But yeah, Silent Hill 3 is a continuation of SH1, where you play as Heather Mason, the adopted daughter of Harry Mason from the original Silent Hill game, and the reincarnation of Alyssa. But yeah, the game is incredibly creepy and scary. It's definitely way more scary than SH2. And the game just throws you right into the horror pretty much the moment you start a new game. But yeah, I love survival horror games in general, and the classics of this era were all great and amazing. The running around with limited heals and like scavenging for ammo, trying to figure out where this random key item you just found goes, like it just appeals to me a lot, especially compared to like more modern day horror games where all you do is like in Outlast, for example, where all you do is just go hide in a fucking closet or under a bed and you're completely defenseless. Like, I don't know how anybody finds that shit fun. But yeah, I like the more resource management, you know, the survival horror games. But yeah, if you guys want a full-on review of SH3 similar to that of my SH2 remake review, then let me know, since I am planning on doing more reviews and was also thinking of doing one for DMC3. But yeah, even though I don't really have nostalgia for SH3, it's still really good, obviously, and it just goes to show that these older games weren't good because of nostalgia. They were good because the devs actually cared about creating fun and unique experiences, rather than creating copy-pasted slop that was formulated in a lab to appeal to the most amount of normies possible. But yeah, give any of the Silent Hill games a shot if you haven't already, especially if you're a fan of Resident Evil.
Is this a dream? It's gotta be. Not even a kid could believe in this. When am I going to let go?
That was sure inspiring. You want inspiration, Huxley? Read a poem. Sarge is 10 times the soldier you'll ever be. Okay, listen up. Today, we're on a secret mission to get coffee and donuts. Problem is, the Germans drank all the coffee and ate all the donuts.
Remember when Call of Duty was a military shooter and didn't feature 500 different pride flags and emblems to choose from? Remember when Call of Duty wasn't full of girl bosses and the only people on the front lines were men? Remember when Call of Duty didn't have $30 microtransactions for skins like Snoop Dogg or fucking Nicki Minaj? Also remember when Call of Duty wasn't trying to compete with Fortnite's 12-year-old audience with gay shit like battle passes and crossovers? I remember, and if you are sick of that shit, you should honestly give Call of Duty 3 a try, because I know a lot of people have never actually played like the original like trilogy of Call of Duty games. The game is honestly really fun and grounded within reality, as it takes place in a World War II setting. And yeah, maybe World War II isn't your favorite time period for shooters, but I personally really like it. There's not really a whole lot to say about it other than you shoot the bad guys, and you can also like drop shot the AI if you are like a sweat who sweats in a single player campaign. As with camping, the shooting in general also just feels very good. Like, it's satisfying to shoot the guns and just to run up to somebody hip firing or cooking up a perfectly cooked frag to take out a group of enemies. But yeah, instead of pretending and forcing yourself to play new COD campaigns and convincing yourself that they like are actually good, just give COD 3 a shot, or honestly any COD campaign up to maybe like Ghosts. If you guys are liking this video, then make sure to leave your Latina queen a like, and also consider subscribing, as that would be lovely, and I, your Latina queen, will never let you down. Ever. But yeah, also join my Discord if you want, where you can be free to be based without the fear of being discriminated against by normies with shit taste in video games, and you too can be a part of my fellow Latina kingdom. Don't be late, join my Latina kingdom now.
You finally took a much needed bath, but in a bathtub filled with dark eco.
Look, old man, are you gonna keep yapping?
Blood's gonna keep yapping.
Or are you gonna help me out of this mess?
You guys remember when Naughty Dog wasn't being ran by Neil Cookman? You guys remember when Naughty Dog actually put out fun quality games that weren't movie simulators like The Last of Us, or weren't making games like Intergalactic where you play as a bald-headed freak of a woman who is so ugly if you saw her in real life you would have to avoid making eye contact with her, otherwise you might physically vomit in your mouth and like you might actually swallow that shit. And let's be real, nobody wants to swallow the vomit that you just puked out of your mouth, okay? Let's be honest. But yeah, RIP Naughty Dog, because Intergalactic is going to be the last game from you, and really should be renamed to The Last Game From Us. But yeah, Jak and Daxter 1 is a phenomenal game. It's one of the few 3D platformers where you actually want to 100% it, because it's just so fun to play. It is pure gameplay. Also, not to mention, back when Naughty Dog made attractive characters like Kiera.
And I bet there are even more of them out in the wilds, just waiting for some brave adventurer to find.
Well, we've got the brave adventurer at least.
But yeah, the game is essentially a 3D platformer where you go around collecting power cells to advance to new levels. The power cells being the power stars of like a Mario 64 or shine sprites of Mario Sunshine, but instead of kicking you out once you like find a power cell, you can keep exploring. It's much more similar to like Banjo-Kazooie, but yeah, the game is just really fun. It's pretty much all gameplay, and that's a like reoccurring theme with all of these games on this list. They're actually fun to fucking play. There are some cutscenes, but like most old games, cutscenes didn't overstay their welcome. They were short and sweet, funny, and to the point. If you're a fan of games like Astrobot or platformers and for whatever reason haven't tried this game out, I highly recommend it. Summoner 2 is a really underrated action RPG, and if you are a fan of the genre, you are doing yourself a disservice by never trying out this game. Also, this was when Volition was actually making good games. You remember that? You guys remember when Volition was actually good, as this game was developed by Volition, but too bad they went woke with the Saints Row reboot and got shut down. RIP Volition, I'll always remember your good games, but I can't say I'll miss the modern you, or that you didn't deserve to go out of business. RIP, I mean, you probably won't really be missed. Like, let's be honest, like, sure, your old games were good, but nobody's missing the modern you. But yeah, you play as Maya, but yeah, she is the queen and the reincarnation of Lahara. You do the typical action RPG shit, like fighting the bad guys, getting XP, leveling up, and assigning skill points, which each character has a different set of skills, and as you invest more skill points into each skill, you'll unlock new abilities and magic, ranging from basic stuff like being able to kick or dodge, all the way up to like sneaking and doing sneak attacks. To enchanting your weapons with different elements like blindness or leeching life, healing, etc. The game has a pretty deep leveling system with the skills as with just the combat in general. The game can be pretty challenging though if you don't invest your points correctly, and also since you are the queen, you will also be on your throne hearing what your people or others have to tell you. They may like need something and it's up to you to decide whether they deserve help or not, as with deciding whether traitors will be like exiled, imprisoned, or killed. You also need to give your people money for basic necessities and for your kingdom. The game also features side quests and just an insane amount of content for a PS2 title. But yeah, if you like action RPGs and are sick of dogshit modern ones, then give this game a shot and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it.
And what do I see? Robots going crazy across the galaxy. Cats and organics, they're soft and squishy. The time is now, we're on.
Ratchet and Clank up your arsenal, and the Ratchet games in general are pure fun. They are platformers combined with big guns. Now, Up Your Arsenal is a downgrade in a lot of ways compared to Going Commando, which is the second Ratchet game, and Up Your Arsenal is the third game in the trilogy. But I still think it's a great game, and it's still incredibly fun to play. What makes the Ratchet and Clank games so fun though is the weapons. Introduced in the second game and further expanded on in the third, your weapons gain XP by using them until they eventually level up. And when your guns level level up, they get bigger and badder, not only causing more damage, but they shoot or do like new things as well, which really encourages you to try out and use all the weapons. The game even has a challenge mode or a new game plus mode where once you beat it, you gain bolt multipliers, which like the bolts are like the main currency of the game, which you would use to buy guns, armor, and ammo, but you gain a multiplier for not taking damage, which really racks up your bolts, because on your second playthrough, your guns can level up even further by purchasing new versions of them, which will cost a shit ton of bolts. But yeah, the game is just really fun. Ratchet 3 also brought back the arena, which you basically just blast through rounds of enemies, getting a shit ton of XP and bolts from the various challenges and the brand new obstacle courses, which I remember them being more fun as a kid, but like they're still fun, obviously. The game is just really good in general.
Let me out at once, or I'll tell him to have you killed. Move, you heifer! I need a bath, and a facial, and a manicure, and I want to go shopping!
Man, I could think of something else you need.
I'm going to say something that might be a little bit, like, maybe a little tiny, insy, bitsy, like, controversial, but hear me out. I think Time Splitters 3 Future Perfect is better than Halo, or at the very least better than the Halo campaigns. Maybe it's a hot take, I don't really care. I think it's more so based than anything, but anyways, Time Splitters 3 is like just early 2000s peak edge Kino. It really is one of the most fun first-person shooters out there. The only problem is playing it on controller, or any first-person shooter on controllers is just kind of ass, since aiming with a thumbstick is not as accurate as playing with a mouse and keyboard. But if you don't mind that, I highly recommend trying out Time Splitters 3. You basically play as Cortez and travel through different years of time.
Whoa! Whoa! Damn it! Wow, man! Are you for real? Stop that. Hey! Don't horse out, dude! Who are you? The name's Tipper, man.
Or time periods, trying to stop the time splitters. The levels, gameplay, and characters you meet are all highlights of the game. Cortez is also just really funny in general. Back when games had good writing, it didn't try to take themselves too seriously.
Psst, hey, up here. What? But you're me. I knew you'd say that. Here. A key? But what does it? You'll figure it out. Just make sure to pass it on when you're done. Ha! That was cool.
Back when games weren't being written by diversity hires or self-inserts of characters in the games. But yeah, the game is also just packed with content and features. Like, it even has a multiplayer with deathmatch and like a ton of other modes. And you can even create your own maps, which back in the day when I was like a kid, I spent so much time creating maps, and like the map editor is great. You also have challenge modes where you need to try and get like a high score, such as like surviving waves of zombie monkeys, which honestly really reminds me of COD Zombies. It's rather basic, but it's still fun for what it is. What I also like about older first-person shooters before Halo took over is that you actually had health and armor, so you couldn't just be a dumbass and run into the open as your health wouldn't regenerate. You'd need to find health packs to restore your missing health, which I think regenerating health works for some shooters like Halo or Call of Duty, but overall for the vast majority of games this just leads to poor balancing, because instead of balancing the game properly, all you have to do is make the player wait behind cover for 5 seconds and wow, your health is completely restored like nothing ever happened. It's just shit balancing, let's just be honest. But yeah, this game is amazing from its gameplay, level design, characters, and its writing. Just overall a really good game, and it's so much better than most modern day first person shooters releasing. Castlevania meets Pokemon is basically Castlevania Curse of Darkness. It's probably the best 3D Castlevania game, although I will say Lament of Innocence is actually pretty solid as well. And I don't even entirely hate Castlevania 64 either, maybe that's also a hot take, but yeah, Curse of Darkness is in a lot of ways kind of similar to Symphony of the Night. In this game, much like in Symphony of the Night, you actually do gain levels, as with your ID or your Innocent Devils, which are basically like the Pokemon you will collect and level up and also evolve with evolution crystals, which yeah, the Innocent Devils are the best feature of this game, and you'll gain fairy types that will heal you, for example, or cure you from status ailments, battle types that will like attack, you know, mage Innocent Devils that use magic and so forth. But yeah, the gameplay is really solid and probably the main reason you'll be playing this game. The biggest problem though, or complaint that I have, is the level design is dog shit. It's basically just run down a straight path, maybe fight a few enemies, enter a box like room, fight a few enemies, move on to the next hall frame, rinse and repeat. But other than that, if you haven't tried any of the 3D Castlevania games, I'd say give this one a shot, or Lament of Innocence. But Lament is more like action adventure than action RPG, since you don't gain levels or anything like that in Lament of Innocence. Dark Cloud is one of the most underrated action RPGs to ever exist. You play as Link, I mean Tone. Like, let's be honest, he looks just like Link. And that's not the only comparison to Zelda this game has. It honestly feels like it was heavily inspired by Zelda in a lot of ways, from the chest openings, the music, to the overall atmosphere and mood of the game. But it plays vastly different than your typical Zelda game. Dark Cloud is a hybrid dungeon crawler and city builder, kind of like ActRaiser on the SNES, if you have ever played that. You will go into dungeons slaying monsters, collecting loot, and most importantly, collecting geostones. So when you head back out of the dungeon, you can rebuild your village with Georama, which from the dungeons you clear and beat, you'll be earning like Georama materials like houses, people, furniture, trees, rivers, etc., which you then will rebuild your village, as with other villagers you will come across later in the game. But the game also has like a puzzle mechanic, as everybody doesn't want the same things, or they want specific things. So you need to speak with the people of the village and meet their demands, such as your mom wanting her house to face the sun when it rises in the morning, or somebody wanting to be like next to the pond so he can easily fish, or somebody wanting to be next to somebody else because they like them. So you gotta like try and rebuild the village back together the correct way. The game is also not like your typical RPG, as in you the player does not level up, but your weapons do, which you'll find new weapons throughout the dungeons which you can craft into new weapons and level up with materials. You'll also meet new allies on your journey which will have different weapons and abilities. I also just gotta say, I really love the UI of older games. Like, again, they just had so much more soul and didn't feel so boring or bland. I really do hate the minimalist style of UI now, where everything looks the same and nothing looks unique. But yeah, this is just a really good RPG with a lot of unique mechanics, as with a really charming art style. I highly recommend checking this one out, as with Dark Cloud 2, the sequel to this game. The sequel improves and expands on a lot of the aspects of the original. If you guys want me to do more stuff like this, or have any recommendations on games you think I might like or would like me to cover, let me know down in the comments. I would like to make more reviews on Silent Hill 1, 3, and 4, as with Resident Evil and other games. But yeah, these old games weren't good because of nostalgia. They are good because they are simply good and are fun to play. None of these games are walking simulators where you need to hold up on the control stick for 5 minutes listening to your partner exposition dump bullshit onto you, or you know, you need to like deliver Amazon packages. None of these games have any forced diversity or inclusion bullshit. Like, you're not gonna play Time Splitters and all of a sudden Cortez goes to a pride parade because now he's gay. None of these games are filled with microtransactions or battle passes. They were all full experiences and the full product on launch. They had fun gameplay, which is the main reason as to why you play a fucking video game, to have fun, not to watch 50 shitty cutscenes with boring ass writing. The games back then did have cutscenes, but they were to the point and didn't overstay their welcome. But yeah, most modern gaming is dog shit, and with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it's really just putting a further nail into the death of modern gaming, where from the leaks, or I think it's already been confirmed, there is a unskippable scene with a gay couple and also black people, or a black NPC I think, or some shit. Which yeah, unfortunate that the devs grifted as being based, but I guess this is why you never trust game devs, and you know, they aren't and never will be our allies or friends. I do really think we need like a Western gaming like crash, you know, kind of like the 80s with like the Atari. We need like a fucking reset in gaming, and we need like gaming to go back to its roots, to where like games were actually fun to play and were actually enjoyable, you know, and weren't overly fixated on like stories, politics, and pushing for like, you know, a random fucking box in the corner of a room to have 5 million polygons in it. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and check out these games, and yeah, you know, have a great day or whatever, you know, that bullshit. Yeah, goodbye.